It's Saturday, 10th July 2021. Good evening. Welcome to News Night on Metro Television. We're live from our studios here on Dr. Iset Street, Northridge in Accra, live on DSTV channel 277, live on Facebook at Metro News. My name is Noble Crosby, and coming up in the next 60 minutes. In this bulletin concerning news, as 4 out of every 10 Ghanaian are psychologically distressed, Health Minister Kweku Agyeman reveals as a hint of a consideration for a health levy and more investment to address mental health in Ghana. The Tema Traditional Council calls for government urgent intervention to protect the Awudum community from being washed away by tidal waves, blaming the Tema Port expansion works as the cause of their woes. In business news, the Bank of Ghana assures account holders whose bank accounts have been dormant for a period of time that they do not automatically lose their funds to the central bank as it's earlier circulated on social media. I'll bring you more. In the entertainment front, spotlight on music icon Sarkodie influence on Ghanaian music as he marks his 36th birthday. More on the man, his impact and celebration comes your way shortly. On the international front, at least 4 people killed and 9 others wounded after a suicide car bombing targeted a convoy carrying Mogadishu's police chief. We are back with the details of these stories and more. Stay with us. Hello, you're welcome to the program. Our first story this evening. The Tema Traditional Council and residents of Awudum, a suburb of Tema New Town and the Greater Accra region, calling on governments for its urgent intervention to protect the Awudum community from being washed away by tidal waves. They are blaming the Tema Port expansion works as the cause of the problem and that there is an urgent need for the construction of a sea defense wall.
Several meters of the Awudum coastal line has been washed away, with more than 150 houses together with their associated histories lost to the sea with no trace of their existence. Joshua Labi Mensah, who had resided in the community for about 60 years, reminisced the beautiful beach and the community they once used to live and play. He is not happy that government is only interested in accruing a lot of revenue from the port, but they as a community are not benefiting from it as they watch their buildings wash away.
It's again lolly, but if you are so a bower, keje, 30 years, nigga. What's rare? Who, Nabasa, you are not fair or Aba, Ninia Bawana, Nibiana Quahenes, you won't Unupa fight, Ni Ambaqua Mehao.
Ni Ama Sompunu II, spokesperson for the Traditional Council and the Shipi of Tema, tells Metro News several letters have been written to relevant ministries over the years, but did not yield the expected results.
So we are pleading to the government, they should take care of us seriously.
In spite of the threats posed by tidal waves, some persons were seen busily rebuilding their structure for accommodation.
Now, Landlords Association of Wellantu North in the Awutu Senya East Municipality is urgently appealing to government to support the association's initiative to demolish unauthorized structures to create drains and as well as help improve access to the roads in the community. The concerned landlords say perennial floods in the area and the havoc they cause as a result of poor drainage systems and poor road networks. The appeal was made on Metro TV's Community Watch show with Gabriel Neobodai Togboashon.
This is Kaswa Wellantu. Water is going to our houses. The assembly is not helping us at all. Whenever it rains, in fact, the place gets flooded because there's no drainage. That is one. Two, we have only one access road that leads to this community, and there's no other access road. But we have a plan, the area plan. In the area plan, there are access road, but people have built on that access road. There's a road that links to the Pentecost Road, but we don't have access there. Okay. And in front of the church, there's a road. It's just right here. And this one also leads to the Pentecost Road, and we don't have access to that road. The assembly came to write on the building that they should remove that structure. It is still there up to now. The MC came down himself, looked at this area and saw that we have a challenge. So right now we need help.
It started 2014 when Bernard was the assemblyman. The assembly has been coming here promising us when getting to election time. But after elections, we don't see them. There is no action. What we want is action. They should come and do it for us. Yeah.
So the key term here is action.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah.
And well, they are even adding now. Now. The name Walantu is interesting. There is a folkloric song which goes like Walantu Walansa na 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 nipa baku Walantu Walansa. What's the meaning?
Walatu Walasa means you will dig and you will collect.
Okay.
Walatu na Walasa.
If this term, which is actually their name, urges that you take a personal initiative to help yourself, how are you helping yourself out?
We don't have that strength to help ourselves. That's why we are calling the authority to help us. We ourselves, we don't have that help.
But maybe you can start something as landlord.
Yes, we started. The church started. And they spent thousands of Ghana cedis. But the rains took all away. They spent over 1,000 cedis. I think about 300,000 or so. But the rains have taken all. The church alone, that's Apostolic Church, they alone. And then the community also did help, did self work. Yeah. And yes, sir, they've not done anything.
With the just up junction to Pentecost Road.
Okay.
So that drainage system has already been captured. And I'm impressing on the contractor to quickly come to site. But with regards to the structure, which has encroached the road. I have spoken with the assemblyman to arrange last week.
Okay.
I spoke with him to arrange in any time possible for me to meet the landlord so that we discuss the first option, which is they being present and making sure that the one whose property will be demolished will be making a whole lot of allegations. But if the landlords are there, then it makes it simpler for all of us.
When will the demolition take place?
It will very much depend on the availability of the landlords association.
Okay.
I've spoken with the assemblyman
to arrange for the meeting.
Promised, yes. So I don't have a problem if we can meet later this week.
Okay.
And plan the.
Away from that story, an estimated 3.1 million Ghanaians, representing 10% of the estimated 31 million population of Ghana, have one form of mental disorder or the other, with 16,000 having severe cases. Sourcing from data from the World Health Organization and the Ghana Mental Health Authority, the Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu indicated that 41% of Ghanaians have psychological distress. He said it ranges from mild, moderate to severe, and this cost the nation 7% of its GDP. This morning, this Dex report filed by Vanessa Edutom-Boateng.
Ghana's health minister categorized persons with mental health problems into four: those on the street, those at treatment facilities, which include psychiatric and general health facilities, those in the traditional and faith healing centers, and those in their houses, and organizations who do not recognize their mental health illness or who recognize but are not doing anything about it. He referenced the World Health Organization, which estimates that 10% of the population of Ghana has one form of mental disorder or the other. Thus, an estimated 3.1 million with mental disorders. Kweku Agyeman-Manu, addressing the parliament, assured that the ministry and its allied institutions, including the Mental Health Authority, the Ghana Health Service, and others, have the human resources to address it. He added that 2 new psychiatric hospitals were to be built in the northern and middle belts. He solicited the support of the Speaker to find more money to address mental health issues and announced that the ministry was working on how to establish a mental health levy. According to the World Health Organization, mental health disorder is generally characterized by a combination of abnormal thoughts, perceptions, emotions, behavior, and relationships with others. Mental disorders include depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and other psychosis, dementia, and developmental disorders including autism.
Let's have a conversation on the back of this and speak with Dr. Akwesi Osei, is the Medical Director of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Doc, you're welcome to INewsNight. Let's start with this. Has mental health received enough attention in your view? Doc, if you could unmute your device, sir. Dr. Osei, could you unmute your device so I can hear you?
It's unmuted. Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me? It's unmuted.
We're still trying to work the lines to have a clearer connection to speak with Dr. Akwesi Osei, Medical Director of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Where we reach, we'll bring you that conversation. Away from that, the European Union will soon begin talks with the Ghanaian government for the establishment of a vaccine manufacturing plant in the country. According to the outgoing head of the EU delegation, Dinah Konsia, Ghana is a key partner to the European Union, and therefore the EU remains committed to a collaboration that will enable Ghana become a vaccine manufacturing hub in the South region.
Ghana is a long-standing partner of the European Union in areas of trade, governance and security. Currently, the country exports about 80% of its cocoa to the EU market. The long-standing trade and economic relationship between the pair was further strengthened on July 1 when the European Union market began accepting goods from Ghana on the duty-free, quota-free basis. Despite the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic, outgoing head of the EU, Diana Akonsia, believes Ghana can bounce back better through more robust economic policies, a vibrant private sector, among others.
Mr. President, COVID has disrupted our lives and development plans and has particularly hurt the most vulnerable. It has made it harder for everyone to achieve the sustainable development goals. But Ghana has all it takes to bounce back: a committed government, a robust private sector, and a vibrant civil society.
She was hopeful that the EU will begin discussions with Ghana on the establishment of a vaccine manufacturing plant in the country.
The European Investment Bank has invested into the Ghana Development Bank, and I hope that we can soon start discussions on supporting vaccine manufacturing in Ghana. This makes for a very strong economic partnership. And in addition, your government has shown its determination to fight climate change and to embark on a sustainable growth path.
According to President Akufo-Addo, Ghana is looking forward to firming up plans to make Ghana a vaccine manufacturing hub in the sub-region.
Take very seriously the possibility of cooperation from the European Union in establishing a vaccine manufacturing plant here in Ghana. It's not possible for us, having seen what happened this first time, that we can look. In fact, we should have taken, I think that in all seriousness, we should have taken our cue from the Ebola crisis. It came and went, and somehow because it went, we all went to sleep again, not knowing that we're in the year of the century of pandemics. And we cannot afford to be caught with pants down again the next time some major pandemic breaks out. So we're taking very seriously our plans to develop our own capacity to produce our vaccines here in Ghana. And I was particularly excited about the possibility of support and partnership from the European Union.
The President commended the EU for its funding of the COVAX facility, which has made it possible for Ghana to benefit from COVID-19 vaccines.
This is Newsnight on Metro Television. My name is Noble Crosby, and let's go for a quick break and we'll come back to bring you more stories. Please.
Football pa and nothing a high sense as sponsor Euro 2020 Edia Mauno Nisa Sunti na yatete TV so say who Edia Mauno a high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo can who kwajo brand new high sense TV and board that for pictures near clear na color near deep sound quality this so dear one it high sense TV so dear entry power about down one access you are akona utusa barefoot. 18th June, I confirm 11th July. A Hisense Hero 2020 TV Super Promo. And my refi say Hisense and Kwan and my 5 years warranty. A Hisense Hero 2020 TV Super Promo. I cost to a Hisense showroom sir. I want Ghana for Nanina. What you dear Nansenya? Hisense everyday prices for everyday people. Hisense official sponsor at the Hero 2020.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room sets, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
Newsnight. Let's go back to an earlier conversation on mental health in Ghana and interact with Dr. Akwesi Osei, the medical director of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. This is related to an estimated 3.1 million Ghanaians, representing 10% of the estimated 31 million population of Ghana having one form of mental disorder or the other. 16,000 of them having severe cases. Dr. Akwesi Osei is on Zoom with us and is ready for the conversation. Doc, welcome once again to Newsnight. First question, has mental health received enough attention in Ghana despite all the policies, all the seeming actions from various governments, in your view?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to you and your cherished viewers. But let me make a little correction. I'm no longer the Director of Accra Psychiatric Hospital. I'm the Chief Executive of the Mental Health Authority.
Doc, please pardon us for that mistake, sir.
We are beginning some amount of attention, or say we are beginning to receive increasing attention. And what I mean by that is that at least now we are getting medications. Every year we get a little, not the amount that we want, but at least a little amount of medications as against previous 4 years or so earlier, when for 7 good years we had no medications. Now we have more human resources, more psychiatrists now than some 10 years ago. We have 45 psychiatrists today as against just about 10 some 10 years ago. We have a little budgetary allocation, not much, absolutely nowhere near what we want. But at least you are guaranteed that some amount of money will come. So, as you may be aware, the government is, and the minister himself said, that the government is going to build 2 new psychiatric hospitals, one in the northern belt and one in the middle belt. So all this shows that we are beginning to get the attention that we want, but certainly nowhere near the quantity, the real amount that we want.
Right. Let's talk about some numbers here, Doc. As you mentioned, 2 more psychiatric hospitals as promised by the Minister. How crucial will that be, bearing in mind the ratio of psychiatric hospitals we have in Ghana against people suffering from mental health conditions? How important, and how will these two contribute in any way towards alleviating the crisis?
It's very important. Already we have 3 psychiatric hospitals, all down south, Accra, Ankafo, and Pantan, all within some 2-3 hours drive of one another. Now, if these 3 hospitals were spread nationwide, one was in the northern belt, one in the middle belt, and one southern belt, that wouldn't have been bad. But because they are all concentrated down south, it means that if somebody has a severe mental health problem for which he requires admission, and he's at Tamale or Tatale or Zabzugu, you need to transport him all the way to Accra, and that brings a lot of burden. So it creates inaccessibility to persons with mental illness. So with the 2 new, not by virtue of the numbers, but by virtue of the spread, one will be in the middle belt, one will be the northern belt. So that is really certainly very good, and we are happy about that. Okay. We are also making efforts to spread services to every regional hospital and district hospital. In fact, wherever we see malaria or any other physical general health condition, we should be able to see mental health conditions there, so that we have accessibility spread nationwide. So certainly it will do a lot of good.
Doc, two more questions before you take leave of us, sir. Let's talk about funding for the Mental Health Authority and dealing with mental health in general. Now, the Minister hinted of a possible mental health levy. Should this levy be approved, what's your personal take on this with your experience in dealing and handling mental health issues in Ghana?
That is exactly what, in my view, that would be the panacea, more or less, of the solution to our problems. As we have right now, we are not having adequate funding at all. By the end of the year, then you'd have had probably just about what was actually budgeted, which is only about 4% of the national health budget, which is not adequate. You would not have received even that 4%. You would have received probably just about 30 or 40% of that fund. And so what we need is a dedicated funding mechanism, and that is what the levy seeks to do. And the levy was in the Mental Health Act, which was passed in 2012, and not yet established. So we are happy that steps are going to be taken to have that established. Once we have money, you'll be able to do all that we need to do and bring mental health care to a very high level. Then you will not see patients on the street the way you see them. You will not go to the hospital and not get medications because that's another. So the levy is certainly a very good way forward.
Right. Doc, lastly, before you go, the numbers, very disturbing. 3.1 million Ghanaians, and that represents 10% of the estimated 31 million population of Ghana have one form of mental health disorder. Let's talk about education and advocacy and identifying people who suffer from mental health. How has that gone so far? How do people know they're suffering from one sort of or another of a mental health condition, and the stereotyping that comes with it too?
These are the among the challenges we have every day. These are some of them: the stereotyping, the stigma, the marginalization, the discrimination. But before that, let me just talk about the numbers. It looks strange or huge. 3.1 million Ghanaians having this. In some senses, we have even, it's a very conservative number. We keep saying that 1 in 5, every one person out of 5 people has a mental health problem, and that comes to 20%. So without 31 million, that would have been about 6.2 million. So the 10% is a very conservative estimate. And this is really not strange. Worldwide, that is a phenomenon. So mental health problems are really huge. And when you talk about 3.1 million, we are not saying these are people who have, as it were, literally, as it will be described in later, gone mad. No, not necessarily. There are people who might be decently dressed. There might be people who might be in tie, everything, and then they have mental health issues. And also ranges from the minor ones, like somebody has a phobia, fear of, let's say, cockroach. You mention cockroach and the person feels like jumping through the roof. This is a mental illness, but it's not madness. So if you put all this together, then the 3.1 is really not strange. Now the point is that, so how are we handling them? Sorry, was that a question?
Yes, that was exactly the question, sir.
Yeah, so it still comes to the question of funding. Indeed, if you have adequate funding, we have the wherewithal in terms of human resources, we have the wherewithal in terms of the plans, the policy. Not long ago, we launched the policy for mental health. So the plans are beautifully laid down, but the funding to support this, that is our challenge. That's why we are praying strongly. We are playing the advocacy role, lobbying left and right. We have a number of NGOs in the system now. We thank God. They are all helping to play the advocacy role. Media, we are bringing you in. In fact, we are doing quite a lot. This is one of such instances, so that the levy will be established. And I said earlier, once we establish that, a lot of our programs would be solved.
Dr. Akwesi, we'll find time and talk to you more. Thank you so much for joining us on INewsNight. We've been engaging with the CEO of the Mental Health Authority in Ghana, Dr. Akwesi Osei. Now, away from that to some other stories. Security analyst Adams Bonner has registered his displeasure on how the Commission of Inquiry is investigating the recent military-civilian clash in Ejura. Now, according to him, the unplanned nature of inviting witnesses to testify could mar the quality of their evidence given, because the process is a fact-finding expedition to remedy a situation. Adams Bonner made the submission on Metro TV's Inside Pages with Francisca Kakrafosen.
If you look at the committee that is sitting, the Justice Commission's committee, you notice there are a lot of shortcomings and a lot of, call it, disorganization. They don't look very organized, if you ask me from where I sit. Because then you don't want a committee that, is empaneled. They sit and they begin to turn around and ask that, oh, if this person is there, come and sit. If you follow the proceedings, the hearing, and to me that is not very good. That doesn't augur well. It means that they don't have a pre-planned hearing before the day where people are clearly notified. Those who want to come with their lawyers, if you look at the Emil Short's commission, most of the those who came in, who were called in to come and give testimony, came in with their lawyers and all that they were properly represented. But this time around, what is happening in Kumasi, right? The drug hearing. You notice these people are called in the spur of the moment to come in and give testimony. And so I'm just thinking that when you are not prepared and you are called, chances are that the responses you give might be responses that may be given another chance. You would not have given those same responses because you would have thought of it before coming. And
so the quality of the evidence really is under question because of how people are coming in.
Because of the way I think they are not too organized, and also some of the opinions shared by some members, largely the committee, I found that to be very unfortunate.
This is still INewsNight on Metro Television. My name is Noble Crosby. Anna, let's go for a quick break. We're back with more stories. Stay with us.
Do you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchiefs. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For both purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
Bringing you Africa's creme de la creme's classiest hangouts, award shows, end-of-year parties, wedding, graduations, birthdays, fashion or corporate events. Metro Social has got you covered. We present bazaars with je ne sais quoi. Give us a call and we will be there. Whilst at that,
Join us on Metro Social every Friday at 9:30 p.m. and a repeat on Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on Metro TV.
Welcome back to NewsNight. To more other stories, the Chief Director of the Interior Ministry, Adelaide Amokomi, has reiterated government's commitment of retooling the Ghana National Fire Service with the aim of transforming it into an institution capable of delivering world-class fire and rescue services. She was speaking at this year's passing out of some recruits of the Ghana National Fire Service.
A total of 517 recruits of the Ghana National Fire Service passed out after undergoing 3 months of intensive tuition, practical attachment and training in vital areas of the Fire Academy such as fire safety, first aid, foot drills, physical training for fire prevention and management. The Chief Director of the Interior Ministry, Adelaide Amokomi, while commending the service for their dedication amidst the challenges that confront it, urged for collaboration with other institutions for effective firefighting.
You all bear with me that our beloved country is faced with the devastating effects of fire. A case in point is the recent outbreak at the Makola, which caused extensive destruction to business setups in the central business area of Accra. I entreat the management of the Ghana National Fire Service to map up a plan to bring all the relevant stakeholders on board to achieve its mandate. The Ghana Water Company, the Electricity Company of Ghana, the Ghana Police Service, and other relevant companies like the insurance companies to deal with our mandates so that we stop this blame game.
She added, government is in the process of retooling the service.
Government is concerned about the logistical constraints faced by the service in the discharge of its duties. And I wish to assure you that, and the general public, that plans are far advanced for government to retool the service with ultra-modern fire equipment that meets world standards.
She advised the recruits to demonstrate commitment in the discharge of their duties to humanity and in the spirit of self-sacrifice.
Now, former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah, is calling for a massive infrastructural expansion of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences of the University of Ghana. According to him, the college has outlived its current infrastructural setup, hence the need for more. Professor Adai-Mensah made the call when the College of Basic and Applied Sciences held 8 meritorious awards for past and present academicians of the college.
The meritorious awards organized by the College of Basic and Applied Sciences was to honor its distinguished academics, deans and directors who have served the college and the university positively over the years. Some of the personalities who were honored include Professor Gordon Awandari, Professor Chris Gordon, Professor Ebenezer Owusu Ojo, Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah, a former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, among others.
It is just to encourage them, to tell them that we really appreciate what they have done for the college and the university, and also through this to also to be able to ginger the younger ones so that they can also learn from it, and they can also learn to be good leaders and good researchers, and to send the name of the college far.
Professor Rose Emma Enchua Mensah, Chairperson, Advisory Board of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, in an interview lamented over the country's inability to utilize the research done by the college for development.
We find that a lot of the industrialists aren't too keen to pick up our research, So we really need the government to drive this, to say that, listen, charity begins at home. we would want you to pick up the results from research institutes and the universities. I know a lot of work has been done, but instead of all this foreign direct investment, I think that the government should also look at home. Charity begins at home. They should look at the Ghanaian industrialists, the link between research and industry. And you know, when COVID came, the universities did very well.
Former Vice Chancellor for the University of Ghana, Professor Ivan Adai Mensah, called for massive infrastructural development for the college.
The facilities you see there were built for not more than 50 students. The Faculty of Agriculture started with 16 students. Now they run into thousands or hundreds. It's the same facility. I would strongly recommend and plead that the government and the people of Ghana address the infrastructural needs, including equipment and funding for the College of Basic and Applied Sciences to be able to make the contribution that it was set up to make to the development of this country.
He added that the University of Ghana's archive and catalogue system needs to be strengthened for progress.
It's now time for the latest in business. Kenneth Jesse standing by to bring us all the updates. What have you got, Ken?
Well, today in business, the Bank of Ghana says people who have their funds there and have dormant account will not lose it. Coming up in business, there's more. Now, the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrew Amwakon Asiama, has instructed the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament to peruse the security concerns of mobile money agents in the country and recommend solutions in 3 weeks. There's more in the following report.
The directive follows a statement from the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma South, Alfred Okuvandepoy, on the gradual rise robbery attacks on mobile money merchants. According to him, he had personally engaged the spokesperson of the Association of Mobile Money Vendors, Charles Kwesiedu, who complained that the attack on members were rampant and has left them in fear. Mobile money agents have been victims of robbery attacks on numerous occasions, with some being injured while others being killed. Not long ago, there were separate robbery attacks on 2 mobile money vendors in the Sekondi Takradu metropolis in the western region. The armed robbers were said to have shot the tie of their victims and thereafter bolted with some undisclosed amount from the 2 incidents. 2 months ago, armed robbers raided a mobile money outlet in Kumasi, making off with an estimated 200,000 cedis. According to eyewitness at the time, the criminals also assaulted and looted a man who had come to deposit money at the same time in the same premise.
Now, the Bank of Ghana says account holders whose bank accounts have been dormant for a period of time do not automatically risk losing their funds to the central bank, as it earlier circulated on social media. This was contained in a press release issued by the bank and copied to the media.
According to the release, the directive on dormant accounts seeks to provide directions to banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions on how to protect accounts of customers which have remained dormant for a period of 2 years. Such accounts, according to the central bank, are placed in dormant account registers, and after further 3 years of no reactivation, the funds are transferred to the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana is encouraging customers whose accounts fall in this category to contact their bankers to reactivate the account. The Bank of Ghana stressed that the key ingredient in the reactivation process is the identification of customers. It further urged banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions to contact customers whose accounts are dormant to reactivate such accounts. As part of the directive, banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions will publish accounts that remain dormant for a period of 5 years on their website and in 2 daily newspapers, as a means of notifying account holders who may not have reactivated their accounts. For additional protection of accounts that have remained dormant for a minimum of 5 years, funds in such accounts will be be transferred to the Bank of Ghana by banks and SDIs after the newspaper publication. Customers whose dormant accounts are transferred to the Bank of Ghana do not lose such funds. The statement concluded that account holders or their legal representatives can make claims for their funds by presenting all relevant documentations.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly with the Ga Traditional Council has partnered famous musician Gas Miller in an exercise to curb the sanitation menace in the capital. Now the partnership forms part of the efforts of the Assembly to use musicians in educating the youth on the essence of ensuring a clean environment and adopting the practice of good hygiene. Metro News' Elvis Ander has the rest of the story.
The 7-member committee to investigate and assess the extent of damage of the Makola fire outbreak includes representatives of the Ghana Police Service, NADMO, ECG, Ghana Water Company Limited, Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Army and the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. They have 1 week to finish with the investigation and advise on the way forward. Mohammed Ajesoa is the mayor of Accra.
So this is a 7-member committee that has been formed and with a mandate of investigating the cause of the fire and to assess the extent of damage. The building is going to be cordoned off and will not allow any human activity around the building. Within the remit of the fact that the investigation continues, the building is still not safe for occupancy, and that people should also respect the rules that we have set out for us. The police are here to do their job, and anybody who decides to do otherwise, the police will apprehend the person.
He added that the victims will be compensated.
As pledged by the Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Alan Chamanten, on behalf of government, assistance will be provided to them. Already meeting had commenced with the AMA, the victims represented by GUTA and the Ministry of Trade. And we are hopeful that in a couple of days, the assessment will be completed and the victims will be supported as pledged by the Honorable Minister for Trade.
President for the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin, was happy with the procedures taken so far by government. He gave this advice.
The government should also take pragmatic steps to help to build satellite markets so that it will go a long way to decongest any open space around. Rollins Park is lying there idle. We should be able to fund money as early as possible. The way we've built the KJTR market should be done, should be replicated here so that it can consume more of the trading habitation. And that's what we are also appealing to government.
Meanwhile, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly says closed routes in the Central Business District will be opened to enable traders continue with their businesses.
We sincerely apologize for playing the wrong bite. The story that went by is about the Accra Metropolitan setting up a 7-member committee to investigate the circumstances that led to the fire outbreak at Makola. That'll be it for business. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Back to Crosby for the rest of the news.
Kenneth, good to have you. Thank you for bringing us all the updates in business. This is NewsNight. We are back with some other stories after this break. Stay with us.
We are one-man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys? Yeah.
Always drink fresh, natural eggs, mineral water.
still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back to INewsNight. Desmond is standing by for the latest in entertainment. What have you got, Desmond?
Well, it's time to bring to you the latest happenings in the world of showbiz. Of course, today is the birthday of Sarkodie, and so we're going to talk about him in a bit. Stick and stay. My name is Desmond Okreko-Dan. So now today marks the birthday of arguably one of the greatest artists Ghana has ever known, Michael Osuado, popularly known as Sarkodie, and Ghanaians have been celebrating him on social media, and we'll bring you to you some of the tweets, but just take a look at this. Well, he actually was born Michael Osuado, and he was born on the 10th day of July 1985. And since he started his music career as an underground artist on the popular radio show Kasahari Level, which was hosted by Dr. Duncan, and he burst onto the music scene with You The Craze, a song by Eden featuring himself and Kwal Kese. And he has 6 albums to his credit, and the 7th one is to be released by the end of this month. And he has over 107 awards, including 25 Ghana Music Awards. And also he's featured lots of amazing artists, including Ace Hood, E40, Ice Prince, Burna Boy, aka. And that's it about Sarkodie. He's definitely inspired a lot of artists in Ghana. Now let's look at the tweets that came up on Twitter as people celebrated this legend earlier in the day. And so we'll get into the tweets very, very soon. All right, so with Ghana Fact and History on Twitter said that today in history, Ghanaian rapper Sarkodie was born, and he became the first local Ghanaian rapper to win a BET award in 2012. And in October 2019, Sarkodie became the first artist to win the Best International Flow. And Captain Planet, his fellow colleague, said it's a beautiful brand new day. You can call it Sarkoholic Day, the day of a true champion. Brown Mike, today I celebrate you. And also BET Africa said that happy birthday to talented rapper Sarkodie. We salute you on your consistency and artistry. And yeah, that's from BET Africa. And moving on to Afia, who he has collaborated a lot with. Afia said that happy birthday King Sarkodie, blessings in abundance. All right, so lots of messages on social media for Sarkodie. Now let's talk about Barack Obama, because he has yet again shared his playlist for summer 2021, and he's been doing that for quite a while now, a tradition that he has kept true for some years now. And the playlist is made up of both old and current. So let's look at the songs making up his playlist. So he tweeted earlier in the day that with so many folks getting together with family and friends, there's a lot to celebrate this summer. Here's a playlist of songs I've been listening to lately. It's a mix of old and new household names and emerging artists, and a whole lot in between. So let's look at the playlist that Barack Obama has been listening to. So you'd find in the Switch Up by Protege featuring Coffee, in the Straightening by Migos, also in the he's been listening to Rihanna, Desperado, and Leave the Door Open by Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, also in the Allure by Jay-Z is also in there, and Bob Marley and the Wailers with Exodus. Now to the next set of songs that he's been listening 2, talking about Kekeli. That is a song that is consequenced by Kekeli, and there's also J. Cole's Neighbors. He's been listening to that, and Good Days by SZA, and he also added in the hair featuring Lil Baby with Find a Way. So that is the playlist from the former American President Barack Obama. Those are the songs that he's been listening to. And that will be all for entertainment here on Newsnight. But before Crosby comes in with the international news, Crosby, today is Sarkodie's birthday. Which of his songs do you like most?
That'll be a tough choice to make, this one. But I loved his Merry album. I loved the songs in the Merry album.
So give us a freestyle.
I heard the director told me to give us a freestyle. I'll do that tomorrow. Don't worry. Happy birthday, Sarkodie. Happy 36th birthday, Sarkodie. And this one, thanks for entertainment. I shall not be moved. You're watching INewsNight on Metro Television. We are back with the latest in international news. Now, on the foreign front, at least 4 people have been killed and 9 others wounded after a suicide car bombing targeted a convoy carrying Mogadishu's police chief. According to Somali officials, Farhan Mohamud, the police commissioner, survived Saturday's blast. Police spokesperson Sadiq Aden Ali said Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda linked armed group fighting to overthrow Somalia's internationally recognized government claimed responsibility for the attack. The group said they killed 4 police officers in the attack and injured 5 others. They claimed all of them were the police chief's bodyguards. Al-Shabaab, which used to control parts of Mogadishu, was pushed out of the seaside capital in 2011 by Somali troops backed by African Union soldiers. The group still controlled parts of the rural areas in South and Central Somalia and carries out frequent attacks in Mogadishu. Now, still in international news, children were among victims, and separate inquiry into the use of child labor has been launched. Bangladesh Labour Minister Manajan Sufan told news agencies that she had been to a hospital and spoken to survivors as young as 14. She added if child labor is proved, action against the owner and the inspectors will be taken. Prior to his arrest, Hashim told Bangladeshi and the media that workers' carelessness such as discarded cigarette could have started the fire. That's all time allowed for this edition of INewsNight. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. Concerning news, 4 out of every 10 Ghanaian are psychologically distressed. Health Minister Kweku Agyeman reveals as a hint of a consideration for a health levy and more investment to address mental health in Ghana. We spoke to the CEO of the Ghana Mental Health Authority. The Tema Traditional Council calls for government's urgent intervention to protect the Awudum community from being washed away by tidal waves, blaming the Tema Port expansion works as the cause of their woes. In business news, we brought you news as the Bank of Ghana assures account holders whose bank accounts have been dormant for a period of time, they do not automatically lose their funds to the central bank as it earlier circulated on social media. Tonight, we threw the spotlight on music icon Sarkodie, his influence on Ghanaian music as he marks his 36th birthday. We brought you more on the man, his impact, and the celebration in entertainment news. On the international front, at least 4 people killed and 9 others wounded after a suicide car bombing targeted a convoy carrying Mogadishu's police chief. And that's it for tonight's bulletin. Thank you so much for watching the program. My name is Noble Crosbyana. We came to you from Kwabwa Studios on Dr. Issa Street, Northridge in Accra. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you for watching. Have a good evening.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments. The Real Show is brought to you by UCS Facility Management Limited, Omni Basic Bank, and Dewdrop Hand Sanitizer.
A very good evening to you